back. Welcome back. We are here. Thank you all so much for joining this pop-up late night live stream. And of course, we have the great Hendo from the Rogue Pod. Hendo, how you doing tonight?
I'm tired. How
Uh,
about yourself?
I am doing fantastic. Thank you for asking. And hello to everyone who's already joined in the chat. We really appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. So Hendo, a lot of
Yes,
news
sir.
going on with our Baltimore Ravens.
Okay.
And just want to come on because all month, for the month of December, all 31 days, you are going to get content from myself on my channel and or Hendo on his channel. And sometimes, most of the time, often, you'll get both of us together on a live stream because Hendo is people are wanting Hendo to come back. I see a dynamic duo. See, people are already flooding in saying, look, bring Hendo back to these real and digital streets. And that's what we're going to do. But tonight,
Nobody said that.
do you not see Suge's
Where? I'm
comment?
looking. I'm looking.
Suge,
The
the dynamic.
dynamic duo. That
Please let
doesn't say
Hen-
come back. That just says the dynamic duo. He's being polite.
if you are watching right now on
Mm-hmm.
either channel, mine or Hendo's, thank you and welcome. Please let Hendo know in the chat in your own way that you would like to see him come back to live streaming on a regular basis. With that,
Nah,
okay, with that, we will just get started because it's late. People have to go to work in the morning. People are
it's early.
tired. No, it's not. It's 10:30. I go to bed like 2 hours ago. But anyway, Hendo, today, the Baltimore
That's it.
Ravens issued an official statement about
Mm-hmm.
Deontay Johnson,
Mm-hmm.
our wide receiver number blank, you fill in the blank, the number 15, whatever.
Wide
They
receiver number none.
For this upcoming game against the Giants, not this weekend, but the following weekend, yes, he is wide receiver 0. None. Absolutely. We'll see.
Whole season.
Yeah, we'll talk about that too. But they indicated that conduct detrimental to the team for his refusal to enter the game, I guess, when asked against the Eagles.
Right.
Now, kind of talk to me or share your thoughts. And we welcome your thoughts as well as those of you who are joining. Let us know in the chat how you feel and what you think about the suspension. Deontay Johnson was suspended for 1 game, so he will sit out against the Giants in a week and a half. What were
Okay.
you thinking about that, Hendo?
I don't know. I had mixed feelings. Because there's been this big debate about should he have gone back in the game, being that the team needed him because Rashad Bateman had gone out. Then there was another school of thought that, listen, you didn't utilize him all game long, and if Rashad Bateman hadn't gotten hurt, you wouldn't have called my number. So should he have gone back in? Me personally, I'm a very team oriented person, and I don't do things for the leader. I do things for my brothers. So in that vein, I felt like he should have gone in and played. But then again, you brought me here to be an impact player on this team. You brought me in here, and quite frankly, if you look at it statistically, he could be the number one wide receiver on the Ravens statistically because he has the most yards. He has 422 receptions throughout his career, over 4,700 yards and 28 touchdowns. By far, that leads anybody on our team. If you bring up the sum of all the guys that the Ravens have, put them all together, I don't think they had that many yards. So I think that he could have been the number one receiver, but they didn't utilize him. He'll come into the game. They may throw a pass or two his way. In 5 games, I think he has 6 targets, 1 reception for 6 yards. And a couple of those were misfires by Lamar, yes, but they haven't utilized him. And you can't tell me that he's not better than at the least, Nelson Aguilar and Tylen Wallace. So I just thought that they're doing a little bit too much for me. If you're not going to utilize him, if you feel like his conduct is detrimental to the team, release him. Give him his papers, let him go somewhere else and be productive. But to me, this is more than just this one incident. Because as I was sitting here today trying to figure out something to make a video about, and then you hit me up and was like, oh, we got to stream. I'm like, we're going to stream about Deontay Johnson. It brought me back, and I did some research. I wrote it down. I did some research. So this has been an issue with. I hate you, Brandon. This has been an issue since John Harbaugh has become the head coach. Wide receiver has always been the Achilles heel of this organization. So it takes me back to 2021, the last year that Hollywood Brown was a Baltimore Raven, right? So, a lot of people are so mad at Hollywood. They don't like him. He had 3 drops versus the Detroit Lions, and people will never forget that. Like Zay Flowers doesn't do that. But then a lot of people clown him because they say, listen, you got 146 targets that year. You had, what do you have? 91 receptions for 1,008 yards. And they look at that and say, look, it took you all of those targets to be the first wide receiver to get 1,000 yards, and I don't know how many years for the Ravens. But watching the game, instead of just going off of the statistics and just looking at sheets saying, oh, Hollywood, I knew that it was a bigger issue than that. And Hollywood came out with a statement of, listen, what's the point of having soldiers if you don't use them? Never. And that's what kind of started all of this drama with wide receivers. But I looked into the numbers and I wrote it down. I looked into the numbers and what happened. And I said this during the season. So the first half of the season in 2021, the first 8 games, Hollywood Brown had 69 targets, 46 receptions. It's not bad. 682 yards, right? And of course, that was the year that Lamar got hurt. But what happened was he was heading into his 4th year, which would have been the year that they picked up his 5th-year option. Or if he balled out, which he was likely doing, he was headed towards a 1,400-yard season. So they would have had to either give him the 5th-year option or give him a contract extension. But we know the Ravens didn't want to pay him that money. So I noticed during that second half of the season, they were hitting him on short bubble screens. They were having him run 5-yard outs. Like they were doing everything they could to minimize his production. So with them trying to stunt his growth, and with Tyler Huntley, the Pro Bowler, being his quarterback in the last 8 games of the season, he had 77 targets, which is 8 more than the first game. He had 45 receptions, which is 1 less than the first 8 games. And he had a total of 326 yards, which is less than half of what he did during the beginning of the season. So I understand what they were saying. And a lot of times targets aren't indicative of what actually happened during the game. If you were the closest guy to where they threw the ball, it's a target for you. So people unjustly and unfairly criticize Hollywood because he wanted out. He wanted to go to a system that actually gave him a chance to get his numbers, to get his money. Baltimore wasn't doing that, but that wasn't the end of this. So then we had John Harbaugh come out and make his comments about, listen, if you're a diva, if you want your numbers and your stats, don't come to Baltimore. Therefore, he was pushing away guys that could have come play with Lamar Jackson. But everyone wanted to push the narrative that, nobody wants to play with Lamar Jackson because he's not a true passer, which we all knew was a lie. Then we get to 2023, Eric DeCosta doing a scouting combine. He talks about, what did he say? He said, if I had an answer, that would probably mean I would have better receivers. And Rashad Bateman took exception to this. So that kind of started a rift between those two. So now we're starting to see a pattern with the organization and wide receivers. And Rashad Bateman came back and was like, look, you need to stop capping. Like, you need to stop coming at us. We're doing the best that we can. Stop blaming me and Lamar for everything. So then we fast forward to now. Then we had Jerry Jeudy on Monday night playing against Denver, and he put up the 219 yards. Then Rashad Bateman comes out with the, what did he say? He said, dreaming, and nobody knows what that meant. It was very cryptic, meaning, are you dreaming of getting 200 yards in the game? Are you dreaming of getting revenge on the Ravens if you play somewhere else? Then he put out another tweet stating government issues. He doesn't have an explanation about why he's not getting targeted during games. So there is another problem. Then we look at the Philadelphia Eagles game with Zay Flowers throwing a baby tantrum over on the sideline. I don't know why he's doing it. He's having an outstanding season. And if I'm not mistaken, Zay has about 96 targets, 76 targets or something like that already this season. So he has a high number of targets during games. Now, I will admit that the Baltimore Ravens don't target him for some reason in the second half. He does most of his damage during the first 2 quarters. He may get a pass or 2 in the third, but throughout the game, they're not utilizing him. And I wonder how much of this has to do with the organization rather than it does the players. Now, some of that stuff I'm not with, but I'm starting to see with John Harbaugh and EDC, when it comes to the wide receiver position, there's always an issue. So it's starting for me to become a pattern. And this Deontay Johnson thing, like, listen, we're in a stretch right now where we just lost 2 of 3 games. We were in a stretch where Nelson Aguilar dropped a pinpoint pass at the sideline that could have led to a touchdown. And he's been doing this his whole career. It's not the first time he's done it. It's not the first time that game he's done it. It's not the first time this year that he's done it. Where Deontay Johnson is a proven 1,000-yard receiver. He's a proven number one. He did it in Carolina. He did it in Pittsburgh. But yet and still, John Harbaugh seems to be going with the guys that he likes, the guys that don't talk back, the guys that don't make waves. So instead of bringing in the players, and we talked about this the last time, instead of bringing in players that will help you win games, you bring in players that don't push back against the system. And I don't know if that's what Rashad Bateman meant by government issues, stating that the front office is the government and, they got their own thing going on. But to me, we need to do something better to attract guys that want to play and make them happy while we're here. Granted, we are a run-first team sometimes in wins, but we do have the capacity to pass the ball. And now with everybody, with the collection of talent that we have right now, everybody's eating. And I thought that's what made us dangerous during the beginning of the season, because teams didn't know who to defend. Yeah, Zay might go off this time. Isaiah might go off the next time. Mark Andrews has come back. Like, we just didn't know. But when you're losing, all the things rise to the top. So I just think that for me, I saw this coming. I mean, he technically should have went back in the game, but I understand. You brought me here to do what? Why did you trade for me just to have me come in and play one snap per game?
Yeah. I will. When I first read it, of course, I was, like in my feelings, like, wait, this is crazy. Who does this? But I had to take a step back and try and look at it from a realistic perspective. And for me, it was kind of, I can see both sides being disgruntled. Right. And if we talk about where does the blame lie, is Deontay wrong for not coming in? Or is the front office wrong for his, the way that they've been underutilizing him? And I thought to myself, okay, yes, both of them to me are at fault. Right. First, I'll start with the front office. If your plan was to bring him in, what did you envision him doing? Did you envision him being wide receiver number 3, 4, 5, whatever? And if so, was that communicated clearly to him? Like, hey, we need someone to help us down the stretch, right, but we believe in Zay Flowers as our wide receiver number 2. We also believe in Rashad Bateman as Zay Flowers as wide receiver number 1 and Bateman as wide receiver number 2. And we would like to bring you in to be a complementary piece to what we've already established in those two, and kind of get in where you can fit in, kind of thing. If that was the conversation, or if that was the tenor or the message, then okay. Then perhaps that puts some of the shoulder of the blame on Deontay. Because for me, if you are age 28 years old, which he is, you are fighting for another contract. And it might be your last one. Who knows? Maybe he'll get a contract after this. But arguably, he's coming toward the latter end of his ability to gain or garner contracts. So with that in mind, if you know that the Baltimore Ravens has a history, a demonstrated pattern of really not utilizing wide receivers effectively or often, why would you want to come to this organization if the idea is I need to be in a position where I am able to be wide receiver 1 or 2 so that I can get my stats, get the numbers, get the yards to market myself for the next contract in the offseason? If that's your mindset, but you come here to the Ravens expecting something totally different, like you just brought up, Hendo, we've seen from Hollywood Brown, and we've seen from various other wide receivers who've kind of left here on the not so great footing because they say, I need to go somewhere else.
Des Bryant.
There you go. So if you know that, why would you want to come here? So again, for me, it's a little bit of both.
All right. So my question to you is, should he have done a Terrell Owens and not reported? Because from the outside looking in, and this is no shot to you, Brodney, because I know you're going to take it as a shot, but coming from the Carolina Panthers, especially with Bryce Young early in the season, the way that he was playing, and then you have Andy Dalton being Andy Dalton. I'm in a situation where, listen, I'm not going to the playoffs, so that means I'm not getting any playoff money. I'm not bettering my stats in this contract year. Like you said, he's 28 years old, so this may be the last opportunity that he has to get a big contract. Now, it's not going to be one of the $30 million or $25 million, but this may be my last opportunity to get the biggest contract I can get at this stage in my career. So I'm looking at it like, okay, I'm leaving this situation. I'm going to a team that's riding a streak. They're winning. Not only are they winning, Lamar Jackson is balling out of control. He is the best player in the NFL. So now I'm going to a situation where I'm like, yo, I can hit up with the best quarterback in the league. I'm darn sure going to get my numbers up because I know, I'm not going to tell you this, but I know I'm better than Nelson Aguilar. I know that I'm better than Tyler Wilder. So me coming in at number 2, number 3, I'm going to up and at least double the production that I had in Carolina and make myself some money. But when he got here, it was a whole nother thing. But he didn't have a choice. He was traded. So he didn't have an opportunity to say, yeah, I can't, I'm not going there. Because in his mind, he's optimistic, like, yo, I'm going from trash to treasure. I didn't know I was going from trash to the doghouse.
You did know you were going from trash to the doghouse. If again, you have these conversations, like if I put, I'm going to say myself, if I'm a player and I have an agent, I'm asking my agent these questions. What is the purpose of me coming here? How do they want to use me? What is their vision for me? What level of contribution do they want from me? I need to know these things before I sign my name on a dotted line.
But there's nothing to sign. Your contract was signed with Carolina. You've been traded, so it's nothing for you to sign. There's no questions to ask. I understand what you're saying, but there's no questions to ask because you don't have a choice in the matter. Either you play or you sit out, and you lose an accrued season, and you lose the money, and you get fined. So it really was nothing to ask you. I mean, you could ask questions, hey, Zay, hey, Nelly, what's it like over there in Baltimore? Is it cool? Yeah. And they could say it's the worst organization in the world. And he still is like, oh, well, I guess I'm in trouble now. He has no choice in the matter. I don't think that he's financially set enough, and I'm not counting his pockets, to say that, yo, I can't play the rest of this year. Then on top of that, going into a contract year, if he says I'm not going to Baltimore and I'm sitting out, other owners and general managers are going to see this. And they're going to be like, oh, he's one of them guys. Yeah, I'm not signing him. So now you're limiting your options when it comes to free agency. But once again, you're looking at it from.
Oh, thank you, Jeff J. He became a member. Thank you so much. Thank you for supporting the channel. I appreciate you. And I also want to give a shout out to my other channel members that I see in the chat. We have Just Toronado. Thank you for becoming a member as well. And we have Sean Coles and Brandon Bazel. Thank you all so much for your support of the channel and what we do here on Ravens Talk with Yolanda. And if you would like to become a member of the channel, there is a join button down below. You can click on that button and it will bring up the 3 tiers that are available to you. Just another way for you to show some love, show some support for what we do here. So thank you all for being here. What were you saying, Hendo?
Yeah, I was just saying, pretty much it's you have to position yourself for the best opportunity in the future. Now, maybe he thought that by coming here, he thought the opportunity was going to be better. It was not. And he thought by sitting out or refusing to go into the game with the history of the organization, he figured that, hey, it may be like an Eddie Jackson situation and they may release me. Now I can go to a contender that needs me and is actually going to play me. So, I mean, I really don't know his thought process in all of this, but I understand that he's frustrated. Like I can't imagine being one of the, let's just say, the 50 best at your position, and you get an opportunity, or you go into a situation where they're not even trying to play you. Like they're not even hiding the fact that, hey, we trying to get you in as many snaps as we can. Like what? 4 games, 6 targets.
What is that?
But Nelson Aguilar and his mishaps.
You don't leave Nelson Aguilar alone. And we're going to take a few comments. Let us know in the chat. Sound off. What were your thoughts when you saw that the Ravens actually suspended a player? And I think someone asked a question earlier. When was the last time the Ravens actually suspended a player from a game? I don't know.
I don't recall.
It's been for as long as I know. So let's take. Oh, I'm sorry.
It's twofold for me, right? Yeah. So. Egomaniac. Okay, Deontay, he was wrong. He should have gone into the game.
Yeah.
But egomaniac has to assert control. But he can only assert control to a certain level. Because to me, the way that I look at it is like this. Okay, you refuse to go into a game. The last time I can remember that happening was in basketball when Scottie Pippen refused to go in for the last play of a game because they drew up a play for Tony Kukoc, who ended up winning the game for him. But that was the last time I can remember a player refusing to go into a game. So he wants to assert his dominance, showing he's the alpha. But it's amazing to me, he suspended him for just one game. And
Mm,
that one game happened to be versus the Giants. But you're going to have him
mm,
come back for the Steelers game, right?
mm-hmm.
Especially not knowing the outcome or the longevity of Rashad Bateman's injury. So it's just funny to me that you just suspended him for that worthless game. It's like in college when kids get in trouble or they have conduct detrimental to the team and they suspend them for the first 4 plays of the game. You can't start and play on the first drive, but you can come in later on though because we
Mm-hmm.
need you because
Right.
we need you. You got to come in and do something. So, it's just John being, and I think it all stems from, I saw somebody come and ask, why does he not like him? I think it stems from Deontay when he first got here. He put out a tweet. He made a comment similar,
Yes.
not in the same vein as Hollywood Brown, but similar to like,
Similar.
yo, I know I'm new, but I can play.
Right.
Like I can play. Just tell me the route to run. I'm gonna run it. I can do what I need to do, but they're not getting me the ball. The only thing between us is air and opportunity. So
Right.
I think John Harbaugh, and I know John Harbaugh does not like guys that challenge him. Marcus Peters, as soon as he had that fight on that sideline, or he had that argument on that sideline, I said, yeah, he's gone.
And he was.
They will never bring him back. John does not like guys that stand up for themselves.
Huh. Let's take some comments. I see. Thank you for being here, Lord Zero ILP. He said, I'm going to be honest. You can't come over to a new team and then elect to sit out for a game and be the victim. You just can't. There's a lot of issues with the front office, but you can't do that. Facts. That's
True.
true. I could see I can see it both ways, but you're right. You're coming to a new team. You need to this is you're trying to get a contract secured for you in the future. This is just not a good look. And I know people bring up, well, he's got a history, right, of just being, cantankerous or being a cancer in the locker room. And he's just not a team player and all of this. But, you don't want that on your resume, trying to grab the next bag. He should be our number 2. Well, he should, but I mean, it depends. Bateman had been doing better. Bateman had been doing much better. He has his drops, B squared, but Bateman has stepped up this year. So, but like Hendo said, now with the question of whether Bateman is going to return or,
Right.
we don't know what's going on with the injury. Yeah, you're right. He really should be number 2. Really should be.
So that's an issue for me. A little bit. Small issue. Tiny, slight issue.
Okay.
For me, I could not care less. You call me wide receiver 1, 2, or 3. If I get the right amount of snaps, just the right amount of opportunities, I don't care what wide receiver I am. If I feel like I can contribute to this team and help us win, especially when we're losing, I don't care what wide receiver you call me. If I know that I can make plays because I've proven it throughout my career, then it's an issue. I don't think that he cares if he's wide receiver 1, 2, or 3. It's just the opportunity. What did you trade for me for? What was the point of you bringing me to this team, uprooting me from another place that I just had 10 games left to play, and then I'm off to wherever I'm going to for the rest of my career? Why did you bring me here? And I think that's his frustration. But once again, as a professional,
Yes.
and more importantly, screw the front office, screw the coaching staff for those guys that you play next to. Those are the ones that you should be holding yourself accountable for. Like, yo, they need me to come in. One of my brothers is down. Let me go in and do my thing. I think that's where he messed up.
Yeah.
Man, Nelson, man,
Yeah, Nelson should have been, yeah, that for sure. Brandon E. You
him
have
and
to
his,
roll.
um,
Yeah, you have
oh,
to.
him and his mishaps.
Okay. Is that okay for you, Jay the Six? Was that compelling for you? Yeah. Marlone 410. Harbaugh didn't even do this during the Super Bowl year. It's kind of weird. That's why I was saying, if you know in the chat, or if you can Google really fast, when is the last time the Ravens benched a player? And I wonder what were the circumstances. When
I,
was the last time?
I
Not
don't.
they got their
I'm not.
hand
No,
slapped
no,
and
no,
they.
no, no, no. I don't. It may be like my memory is a little shaky. It may have happened, but to me, if it did happen, it happened between 2013 and 2017. Because be honest, it was Ray Lewis's team.
Yeah.
In 2012, that mutiny, which Ray Lewis wasn't there for, but Terrell Suggs was the pseudo captain at the time. They kind of policed themselves. They policed the locker room. John Harbaugh didn't have to do anything during his first 5 years as a head coach. He had leaders that policed themselves. And if somebody stepped out, man, I wish somebody would tell Ray Lewis, I'm not going in that game. It's too
Ooh.
late now. They wouldn't
Whoa.
do that. They wouldn't do
No.
that because they have that respect for one another. 2013 to 2017, I mean, players didn't play that well, so I'm sure everybody needed to get in the game as much as they could to raise their stock. But
Yeah, for
he did.
sure.
Did he suspend Brian McKinney? I know that he benched him, but he might have. He might have.
Mm,
You know what? He might have because I think he was late for a lot of meetings and his weight was an issue. So that might have been.
mm. Hey, Nana Rave. Good evening. Thank you for.
Earl Thomas.
Yeah, Earl. Was he okay, they suspended Earl.
I don't remember after he punched Clark.
Punched Clark. Yeah, I remember
Yeah,
him punching him, but I don't remember him getting suspended. He might have. I don't recall.
Corey Dillon.
Thanks for being here, Nana. Corey Dillon did it too. Listen, this is John Harbaugh is fragile as a man. Yeah,
100%.
agreed.
He's a
Agreed.
he is a turf terrorist.
Just Tornado, she wants to know, she's got questions. Does
Okay.
this point to bigger problems in how the Ravens are being run? Issues with leadership or communication? What do you say, Hendo?
I can't just point to this one issue and say that it is an organizational type thing. But if you look at the Ben Cleveland situation, if you look at the Marcus Williams situation, if you look at the Eddie Jackson situation, and now you bring this into the fold, along with the little issues we've had with Rashad Bateman, it may have something to do with the leadership and how it's run. Now, granted, Eddie Jackson did not play the best football, and he may have been by far the second worst defensive back on the team behind Marcus Williams. But it's how you communicate it to him. Like, listen, bro, you need to do better. Maybe you need to practice more. Maybe whatever you need to do, and we're gonna play you a little bit less, rather than just making me inactive for a game or telling me not that I'm not traveling with the team. So to me, I know that a lot of it has to do with John Harbaugh because we're seeing repeated patterns of this. And it's a repeated pattern with one position in particular. And it so happens to be the position that the Baltimore Ravens do not value. They do not value wide receivers.
No, they don't seem to value the O lineman. We are not going
So,
into
wait a
the.
minute. Let me
We're
catch
not
this. Let me
going.
catch this. Let me catch this. Listen, why do we say Harbaugh? He don't coach offense. He does not coach offense. But I don't know how long you've been a fan of the Baltimore Ravens. If you've been a fan since its inception, it doesn't matter who the Baltimore Ravens bring in as an offensive coordinator. We run the same system.
Yes,
So is he in charge of the offense? Yes, he is.
I mean he's in charge. Hi, Isaiah Birdsong. Thanks for being here. Why do I say Harbaugh? He doesn't coach offense. He
But
is the head
he does,
coach. He
but he
is
does
the
have personnel. He has say in personnel. He has say in who's active during games. He has say
correct.
who's inactive during games. He has
Correct.
say in what guys he tells Monken don't play or
That's
don't get
right.
the ball to. And if you think that not even just Harbaugh, if you think that coaches don't have vendettas versus players and tell their offensive coordinator or quarterbacks, yo, don't get him the ball.
Yeah.
If you think that doesn't happen, mm,
Yeah. So, hey, Joey, thanks for being here. I hope it doesn't galvanize the team. I hope not, because you don't want, well, I'm just going to speak for me. I don't want mess. I don't want drama. That just doesn't fly. And if your focus is really, we want to win the Super Bowl, you don't
right.
have time for distractions. You've got to be laser focused on the goal, not, oh, I didn't get this, and oh, they didn't target me that, and oh, so and so is that. I now have to sit on the bench. We don't have time for that. This late in the season, 4 games remaining. what, 5 games remaining? 4 or 5?
4.
4 games remaining. We don't have time for this. We've got bigger problems, i.e., how is our O-line going to fare against top tier teams, as we just saw going against the Eagles?
Teflon
I.e.,
John.
exactly. I.e., what is Todd Monken going to do? How is he going to change the play calling to accommodate for a deficient offensive line that can't protect our quarterback?
Yes,
Rather
galvanize
than,
is a good thing.
what'd you say?
Somebody asked was galvanize a good thing. It is a good thing. She's
Yeah,
just saying she doesn't want drama.
right. I'm just saying I don't want drama. I don't want there to be any kind of like distractions, and I
You
just
picked you picked the wrong team. You picked the wrong team. There is drama. Why is Ben Cleveland not playing? Why is Pat McCarry still playing left guard? Why didn't they do more to protect Lamar Jackson? There's drama. Listen, Lamar Jackson's our quarterback. He's going to get talked about all day and 10 times on Sunday. So there's always going to be drama surrounding this team. It just depends upon the leadership that you have and how they control the narrative going forward, how they control everything. Now, you can't keep everybody on the team happy. You can't. But you can minimize the things that go on. And I just think that, and I see it in the chat, what did John Harbaugh, what does he do other than stand on the sideline? What does he do? Since he doesn't coach offense, I damn sure know he don't coach defense. What does he do other than give political speeches after every game?
D-Bank says he disagrees. We need this controversy. I'm just glad it came during the bye week. Controversy is okay as long as you believe that your leaders are able to manage effectively the controversy, neutralize it, and not allow it to become a distraction or a hindrance.
Facts.
So that's the only thing I can take from your comment. Controversy in itself is not horrible. But if it becomes to the point where it's a distractor, then yes, we really need to kind of like limit that. We don't have time right now for a distraction. Thank you, Donovan Carter, for the super chat. Thank you very much. I'm begging.
Appreciate
Thank you. Donovan Carter says, I'm begging for a mutiny, to be honest, against Charmin Ball.
It's horrible.
He's saying he's soft. He's saying that. But
I mean,
yeah,
I mean,
Deontay. Hey, Justin Lewis, we were just talking about that. That's what we're
we're talking about.
discussing. Yeah, we're discussing that Deontay Johnson got suspended for 1 game, and we were sharing our thoughts. Weigh in. Let us know how you think or how you feel about Deontay Johnson getting suspended here.
Yeah, we're not getting a mutiny. We don't. John Harbaugh ensured personally that we don't bring in players that will subscribe to a mutiny. He did that intentionally. This is why they do character tests during the combine. And it's more about character than it is skill. And I'm not picking on this player, but this is why Odafe Owe was
Wait
brought
a
in.
minute.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying that that's why he was brought in, because he was a good character guy. It wasn't about production, because if you looked at his production in college, you'd have been like, yeah, we could find him in the 3rd round.
Why do we always have to bring up Odafe Owe?
I'm just saying.
Why? There's other players that there
He
are
was the first.
plenty.
He's the first round pick. He was the first round pick. Giovanni.
Giovanni.
He's been holding this team back for longer than that.
Yeah,
When he won that Super Bowl and the power went to his head and he was given authority over top of the general manager,
yeah.
that's when he just said, you know what, we're going to do things my way. And in some instances, I get it. If I'm going to be fired from a job, I'm going out my way, guns blazing, doing the things that I want to do. But it's just unfortunate that Steve Bisciotti loves continuity and he doesn't like change. So no matter what John does, it's a wrap. Like, I mean, I listen, he's a Super Bowl winning head coach, but in what sport can you have a head coach go for 12 years and not even make it back to the championship game, but still have job security? I keep saying this thing on Twitter where it says since 2017, John Harbaugh has 3 contract extensions and 2 playoff wins. Where they do that at?
Listen,
But who picks the coaches? Who picks these coaches? Who picks these coaches? John Harbaugh does. He picks all of his coordinators, and he never picks the best of the best. You will never see John Harbaugh go out there and get the hottest name at the offensive coordinator. You will never see John Harbaugh go out there and get the young upstart defensive coordinator. You will find him getting brand new guys or over the hill people that's been in the league for years. You will never see him get that guy.
hey, B. James, thanks for being here. I blame the coaches because they pick these players. Falele looks like a younger version. Oh, I don't even want to say that name. That just
Listen,
you talk about just bringing up bad,
at, at
bad feeling,
least
but bad memory of Villanueva. But ooh, he was horrible.
at least Villanueva was AT&T. He used to reach out and touch somebody. He would get beat, but he would at least get his hands on somebody for the
And
most part.
what does Falele do? And Makari.
But
Okay,
Falele is playing Marco Polo
Hendo.
and just feeling. He out there feeling like I know somebody's out here somewhere.
Yeah. B. James says controversy is stupid. We're supposed to be dominant on all sides of the ball, and we're just not. We're not mentally disciplined.
Thanks.
True. And that starts at the top. Absolutely. You've got to look at the Villanueva. That's right. Like, no, that's terrible. Wow. I hadn't thought of him in a while. And,
Oh yeah, because because the general manager was cooking when he made that move. Facts, Nana.
Yes, Nana, facts. The defensive players were the Super Bowl winning coaches, not John Harbaugh.
Right, because it's amazing. But it's amazing how when we win, it's because our head coach is so amazing, one of the best
Yeah.
to ever do it. But when we lose, it's all on the players.
It always, of course. Donovan Carter, thank you for the super chat again, just showing
Appreciate you.
support and love. We appreciate you. He says, Johnny Hibachi's cooked as a coach. He cannot stay if a Super Bowl isn't acquired this season. That's interesting. Well, I didn't have that on the table for discussion, but we'll weigh in on it. No more excuses for him. This team is stuck in limbo. Exactly. That's right. I don't know if John Harbaugh win a Super Bowl this year or not. I don't know if John Harbaugh will be ready to say, I've done all that I can do here. My time is up. I don't see him bowing out gracefully.
I think he's getting tired of us. I think he's getting tired of the fan base, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but you can get tired of the fan base, and you know that there's only so much the fan base can do. What can we as a fan base do to John Harbaugh to make him change his mind in how he leads this team? Yeah, we can come on here on social media and we can say, we don't like this, we don't like that. John, you need to do this, you need to do that. You need to hold yourself accountable, hold these players accountable. We can say that all day and night. And have we been saying that? And have you guys who've been doing YouTube for years, have you all been saying that? And what change has it brought about?
I know I have. But my thing is, at a certain point in time, especially in my mind. So in my mind, I feel like I'm one of the greatest to ever do it, right? And I feel like I'm giving my all to this team. I brought this city a Super Bowl. I'm continuously winning games each and every year, and all I'm getting is complaints. I love this team and I love this area, but now I want a new challenge. I want to go somewhere where I'm appreciated. And because I need my ego massaged, I'm gonna go somewhere else. So I think if the Ravens do win a Super Bowl, I think he bows out gracefully. I think if we don't make it to a Super Bowl, they're gonna mutually part ways.
I don't see them mutually parting ways.
If we regress and don't make it to an AFC Championship.
Now you said a Super Bowl. I said now.
I'm just saying, but I'm asking you. But I'm saying it's either win the Super Bowl. Either we're going to win the Super Bowl, or we're not even going to make it to the AFC Championship game.
Well, okay. Well, no, I don't know. I disagree with you on that. If we make it to the AFC Championship and we don't win, we come in second place. I don't see them firing John Harbaugh.
Technically, fourth.
I don't. Well, you can call it what you want, but there's only two players. There's only two teams.
Tied for third.
There you go. I don't see John Harbaugh walking away. I don't. Nor do I feel that they will part ways with him. If we make it to the Super Bowl and come in second place, I might I might be able to envision there be a time or a circumstance where that could happen. And you see how many words I had to add onto that? So I'm
But
not fully convinced.
sometimes people just get tired of that situation and they want to change,
Maybe.
or they just want a different challenge. I want to see if I can go to this organization and build it from the ground up.
Nightmare Kilo says the Ravens are cooked and they are barbecued. I think I appreciate your opinion. Thanks for sharing. I disagree with you. I don't think the Ravens are cooked. I think the Ravens have some internal struggles that they need to really figure out, and they need to make some swift changes. But to say they're cooked when you have 8 as your
Right.
quarterback, there is no barbecue.
Yeah.
Now,
The Ravens are sauteing and they're being washed over by the sous chef, but barbecue, no, no.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think they're barbecued, because to me, a barbecued team is one that's already been eliminated from playoff contention. That's a barbecued team. That's one that has no fighting chance. And there have been a couple that have already been eliminated from contention. Even if they went out from here on out, they're still not even making it into the playoffs. Those teams, Nightmare Kilo, to me,
Right.
those are your barbecued teams. Ravens just have some things to figure out.
Listen,
Ravens,
there's no way we don't make the playoffs, and it's not because we're so great. It's because the other teams are so bad. There's no way we don't make the playoffs.
yeah, yeah. I don't think that we would, like you said, there's no way that we won't make the playoffs. We're going to make it.
Right.
I,
Well,
I, I think I think we will, Osmond. I think we're going to make the playoffs. Now, where we will be, wild
listen,
card, I don't know. Now
listen.
that's
Listen, I'm sorry. You know what? As it stands right now, if the season were to play out and things remain the same, do you know who we would play in the first round of the playoffs?
Steelers.
Yes. Would you be confident going into that game?
No, no. I just said make to the playoffs. I didn't say make
No,
it
I'm just
in the.
no. I just want to know. I was
Yeah,
just asking. If we
yeah.
play the Steelers
If
in the
we
wild card round, are we confident? And listen, we all have caped and capped for this team all season long. And now we're at a point where we're like, oh, we meet the Steelers in the first round of playoff. It's going to be a tough one to me. I can't guarantee a win. Yes, and to me, like, and I understand this is the pros, this is professionals. You can't make rash decisions. You can't make knee-jerk decisions. But like in college football, Ohio State has lost to Michigan for the last 4 years straight. And Day is a decent he's a good head coach, I guess, but he can't beat his rivals. We cannot beat our rivals, and that should be an issue. This is something that, and I'm not saying people should call for John Harbaugh's job, but this is something that people should be really upset about. These are our biggest rivals, and we cannot beat them. When do we look at the head coach and it's like, bruh, they've had inferior teams for years, and you are 1-8 in your last 9 games. You're 2-for-11 in like the last 13. Like, what are you doing as the head coach to overcome this? Is Mike Tomlin that much better of a head coach? And we'll talk about that a little bit later, because I don't know if it's Hard Knocks or not, but
Yeah, we got to get into Hard Knocks. We got to talk quickly about Hard Knocks, because this is was supposed to be a short stream, but that just doesn't happen.
when we start talking about the Ravens, we
I
just
know.
it's,
We
it's
just keep
hard. It's hard because we're so passionate.
understood. Understood. Queendom come. Lamar will never get a chip with this team. Free Lamar. Wait. That's a tough one. That's a tough pill to swallow. What I'll say, Queendom come, is
So,
I will say that Lamar absolutely can win a championship with this team, with these coaches, and with these players surrounding him.
all right.
But it would mean he would have to put the team on his back and win despite John Harbaugh. That's what it would take. Win despite the deficiencies, win despite the glaring issues that are magnified week after week. It would take that. So, but I disagree. I think he can win a championship with this team. What do you think, Hendo?
He can win a championship with this team.
Yeah.
Not with this head coach, but with this team, yes. When they move on and get a young, innovative offensive coordinator or offensive minded head coach, yeah. Listen, I wanted Hodge fired during the Super Bowl run. We were going to the Super Bowl, and I'm like, get this man out of here, because
Yeah.
I knew what was coming.
Hmm. For sure.
See,
I don't.
people don't have faith that our team gonna beat the Steelers. Listen, we and I'm 1,000% confident that the Ravens are gonna beat the Giants, but we better not lose to the Giants, because if we lose to the Giants, it's a wrap.
Well, yeah. The, the margin of error, we've kind of dug ourselves in a hole. The margin of error is slim for the Ravens right now. But there's still a path. There's still a way to get to to get to the playoffs. But we can't keep self-sabotaging. We can't keep making the mistakes. We can't keep putting players on the field who are not the greatest players in their own right. Like, that's just, if we're not going to make some changes to this offensive line going into the game against the Giants and really give those players an opportunity to start to gel, who have not been playing, then like Ben Cleveland, what's his name? I want to call him Jones.
Josh Jones.
Josh Jones. If we don't play them, and they've not really played a whole lot. I know Ben Cleveland has played a handful of snaps here and there. You blink a couple of times and you've missed it. But
True.
if we don't give these players an opportunity right now to play, then
It's a scary thought. I mean, think about this. Whenever we play teams with a strong defensive line, our offensive line gets manhandled.
it
And
does.
of course, a lot of things are going to get masked because of Lamar Jackson. And by the way, I've been on Twitter all day. I've been working, but I've been on Twitter all day waiting for the apologies from the people that said Lamar needs to run
Run
more.
more.
Because looking at the all 22, those lanes that you thought were there weren't really there. They weren't really there. But it's a scary thought that this offensive line is playing like this. And John Harbaugh comes out in a press conference and he says, "Listen, I don't foresee any changes in the future. I think they played well. But if we there's not a possibility we make the playoffs. There's a possibility that we could go Steelers, Bills, Chiefs, and that would be a path to the Super Bowl. Steelers, Bills, Chiefs.
And I will say about the Bills, we can say, well, we blew the Bills out of the water. That was
Different thing.
early. That was early in the season. It's a different team now. If we were to play them right now, are you confident that we'd beat them?
I was some weeks ago.
Right. When we were in a winning stretch for the 5 games. Sure. If you would have asked us then, are we confident that we can beat the Bills again? Yeah, absolutely we can. Look what we're doing. We're winning.
I mean, we can
Okay.
beat all. We can
We
technically beat all the
can.
teams.
Yeah, we can. We certainly can. But are we going to?
But I'm telling you now, if we get to the playoffs this year, I promise you, if we run Derrick Henry 6 times in a game, if
Ooh,
we run Derrick Henry 16 times in a playoff game,
wow.
I'm
Anything.
gonna handwrite John Harbaugh a personal letter
Oh
and make sure
boy.
that he gets it.
Oh.
Run Derrick Henry 6 times in the playoff game and we lose.
Ooh.
And it shows that you have no growth, and it shows you haven't learned anything from the past 6 seasons.
We're going to talk about Hard Knocks just for a little bit. So, if you guys had an opportunity to watch Hard Knocks, please let us know what your thoughts, your takeaways were from the episode yesterday. Hendo, what did you think? What were your
I
main takeaways from it?
I actually liked it. Like it gives you kind of in-depth inside access to the locker rooms leading up to the game. Now, of course, this episode they mostly focused on the Steelers and the Bengals because those two teams played each other, so they're going to get more time because you have two teams coming together. But also, they played the 1 o'clock game, so they kind of did it. They kind of did it chronologically: the 1 o'clock game, the 4:25 game, and then the Monday night game, which I guess they'll continue next week. But it kind of brought up some things for me, and I know a lot of people are going to agree with this. And if you tell me go be a Steelers fan, whatever. It showed it showed to me, and I already was a fan of Mike Tomlin. It showed to me his interaction with the team. He went and told players, bruh, you going up against Orlando Brown Jr. I need you to put in a little bit extra because I'm gonna need you during the game. And then during the game, he went and had a strip sack. He told Cam Hayward, yo, get your unit together. Second half, they did. And the thing that I noticed before I even watched it was the play where Russell Wilson threw an interception. and the guy pulled George Pickens' helmet and knocked him down. Mike Tomlin already knew mentally he's out of this game. He's not thinking about football. He's thinking about get back. So he pulled him over. He pulled him over to the side, and we actually got to hear him speak to him. And he told him, "You all right? You good? Like you're gonna get back. We need you in this game. Don't even worry about it." And he was on the sideline talking to his players. He was on the sideline giving advice, coaching. He wasn't standing there just looking stupid, letting his coordinators do things. He had input in the game. And this is why I respect Mike Tomlin. You can say whatever you want about his playoff record. He's had lesser talented teams than the Ravens, but he's done more. And people want to kind of scope over the fact that he's never had a losing season ever in his career. That is a very hard thing to do. To never, especially one season he started off 2-6 with Duck Hodges and Mason Rudolph as his quarterbacks. 2-6. Didn't have a losing season. He's made the playoffs with bad teams. And I think to me, it just gave a little more insight. They told us about how Minka Fitzpatrick and Jamar Chase don't get along. They really don't like each other. But I do think that it was very, very good access. I'm just waiting to see more from the Ravens. I heard that there was rumors that they didn't show a lot from the Ravens because the Ravens chose not to disclose a lot of things. But I want to see if they're going to bring up the Deontay Johnson situation and everything that led up to it. I don't know if the team is going to be so forthcoming and kind of put it out there. Now, Todd Monken, he put, this is a distraction. It's distracted us. It's too much of a distraction. But then I also saw a tweet that said Patrick Mahomes failed the whole series for a year and won a Super Bowl. So stop with the excuses. But I think that it's actually something that's very entertaining to watch, and you get a little more insight into the enemy, their thought process, their meeting rooms, and all that type stuff. So I thought it was a good episode.
I'm going to take a quick detour because Sean Coles had a question, and then I want to address D. Banks' comment here. Question: do you think John is trying to preserve players for the playoffs, i.e. Ben Cleveland? I'm going to go with no. That's going to be my answer. Because last year when we had OBJ, we did not play him much. He made one catch per game, and it was a spectacular catch, or he made one really good play, and then we didn't see him anymore. And that was it. Okay, I'm being over exexaggerating.
No, you're right.
He made more than one catch. But my point is, for $15 million, the amount of money that we were paying him for him to have less than a handful of catches per game, I thought, oh, okay. Someone mentioned to me, well, perhaps they're just saving him because we know he was dealing with an injury. He took a year off before he came to us. After his time with the Rams, he took a year off, comes to us, and people are like, well, we're being delicate with him. We're just allowing him some extra time. No problem. Well, let's, see if we're saving him for the playoffs. All right. Come playoff. Did we see more of Odell Beckham Jr.?
On camera, yeah. Lamar, do something. Save us.
No. Did we see more of him in the game playing?
No, we saw more of him on camera. On camera on the sideline. Lamar, you got to do it.
So I'm going to go with no. Hendo, what do you think? Do you think John is trying to preserve?
The answer is 1,000% no. Because in your example, OBJ was coming off an injury. So you weren't expecting him to be able to play a full complement of plays during the game. Now for Ben Cleveland, for me, if you are preserving someone for the playoffs, you limit them. You put them on a snap count. But you have to get them up to game speed. You can't just have a guy sit the whole entire season, and he has to be in football shape, and then throw him into the playoffs and think that he can play a full game. Yeah. He's not going to be up to speed. He's not going to be ready. His body will not be able to physically hold up to it. He'll be fresh, but his muscle memory won't be where it needs to be, because now you're going up against the best of the best on that defensive line. So to me, we all know it's the doghouse, and that's where he's going to stay until he finds a team next season and balls out. And people are going to say, why didn't we keep Ben Cleveland? The same way we said about Kevin Zeitler. Why didn't we keep Kevin Zeitler?
Yeah.
Yeah, Harbaugh don't like getting criticized.
D. Banks made a comment earlier that, Steelers fans are always calling for Tomlin's job after a loss, and we're no different.
Right. 100%. It's the same thing. Listen, they don't appreciate their head coach. We don't appreciate ours. But I do think that you get more bang for your buck with Tomlin. He's actually, you could see from the cameras, and some Steelers fans even said he was out there performing for the cameras. I've seen him before on the sidelines, and I've seen him do these things. I just think that he's more interactive with his team, and he has more to do with his team winning, other than putting Lamar Jackson on the field talking about winning some games.
For sure. Yeah, let us know in the chat what your thoughts were about Hard Knocks. I'm trying to catch up with the comments. Thank you all. Thank you. But let us know what your takeaways were from watching Hard Knocks. Who do you think, from this first episode, who do you think is I don't want to call it a winner, but the better head coach? From what you were able to see, Hard Knocks, also bring in, kind of what both head coaches have been able to do with their respective organizations. Who would you think is the better of the two? Hendo?
You already know who the better head coach is.
Well, some people no.
But who gets more out of their players?
Wait, before I answer that, I will say that not everybody, when you say who the answer is, that's not
They know.
everybody's position.
People know. They just don't want to admit it. Listen,
If people,
and to be quite honest, there is a large sector of Baltimore Ravens fans that only watch the Baltimore Ravens, and all they see are the highlights on Red Zone, or they go to CBSSports.com and look at the statistics. They don't actually watch other teams play. That's why we're always saying, go watch other teams play football, because people used to say you can't build a super team in football. Oh, what did the Bills do? What did the Rams do? What have the Niners done? What are the Eagles doing right now? What's up, Jason?
Hey, Jason, thank you for being here. Just had a show, did a show with him on how to Huddle It Up Films. Make sure you go over, click on his avatar, and subscribe to his channel. Thank you again for having me. It was a lot of fun. Really good show with a lot of great YouTubers. So thank you for that. Yeah, Tomlin is just a leader. That's it. He is. And he's I'm going to say finally, but he's got himself a team this year.
Yes.
He's got a, oh, go ahead.
And what happened? I'm sorry. And what happened, Yolanda? Now that he has a team, what happened? He's leading the division. Who'd have thunk it? He has an above average quarterback for once, and now they're leading the division. Who would have thunk it?
Yeah.
We have the best player in the NFL. We have we have arguably the best safety in the NFL. We have technically the second best middle linebacker in the NFL. We have dogs at defensive line. We have the second best running back in the NFL.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Me too.
Right.
Me too.
Oh, we could have got D-Hop this year. We could have got him this year.
This year. Yeah, but last year, for sure, last year. But yeah.
No, somebody offered us a player and a draft pick, and EDC was like, boing. I can't pass that up. What?
Oh, gosh.
It was a cartoon sound.
I know. That's why I laughed, because it sounded exactly like that, a cartoon sound. But yeah, family, thank you all for coming. I see the comments, just trying to scroll through. Osmond says that Tomlin is a much better coach. Yeah. Lord Zero ILP, they were not pleased with Sirianni this season. Okay, but are you still thinking the same thing?
So, okay.
What I want to know, I just want to know from Lord Zero ILP, Eagles. Right. Do you, as a fan, do you think that Sirianni is it for your team? He's winning 10-2. You gave him, the fan base the fan base gave him flack prior to this season. What is he doing? I don't know. I don't trust him. I don't think he knows. I don't think he has a plan. Okay.
Listen.
Which one are you? What comment?
Evil Lamar. I'm not doing it again. But listen, I think they have the right to raise some heck about Nick Sirianni. I don't think he's a great head coach. I think he's a decent head coach. I just think that Howie Roseman just put an ultimate team around him. And I think that a lot of Philadelphia Eagles fans don't like him, not because of his coaching style, because he's a butthole off the field. Like, some of the things he does is pretty childish. As a head coach, certain things that you shouldn't do as a head coach. And I think that rubs a lot of people the wrong way, because they're like, yo, if you're going to act like this, you need to be winning championships first. Don't just come in here and haven't won anything and you're acting like this.
Yeah. Interesting, Kev T. Believe it or not, people think that Harbaugh is the better coach. I'm not saying
What did Tony Romo say? He's a top 5 head coach of all time.
that's right. So I asked the question, not trying to be, funny or
Right.
anything. I just want to know, like, hey, because of some people I've seen on different social media platforms that are saying Mike Tomlin is not the better head coach. It's absolutely John Harbaugh. Nana Rave says, Tomlin is a way better coach and leader than John Harbaugh, but I want neither of them because I want a young coach like Nico Rines. Yeah, I want someone young here. Oh, B. James. OBJ came here to do the Park Heights Shuffle, and that's it. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
that shovel cost
Shuffle with
$15
$15
million.
million. He
And
get paid it.
then it cost us some dead money
It
as
sure
well,
did. Yeah.
which hindered us. Like, they love just signing players that they get rid of and incur a lot of dead cap money, and then say, well, Lamar's contract is taking up such a big chunk, we can't go out here and sign other players. No, it's certain football moves that you make, like these moves that he's making by signing these guys that have been cut, even if their contract is for $1 million or $2 million. When you end up cutting them 4 games into it, that $800,000, when you start combining it, it adds up. And if every dollar does count, stop just signing anybody to have name value on his team, so you can say to the fan base, well, look, we tried to do something. We brought in Tre'Davious White. Like, we brought in some people to help you. We brought in Chris Wormley. Okay, how does that move the needle for the team, and how does it help them get better? How does that protect Lamar and make him a better quarterback and give
Yeah.
him the ability to stand in the pocket and start dicing up these teams, or have the time to make the decision to run, not where he has to run? He can sit back and scan the field and say, you know what, this is what I'm doing this play. But he didn't do that. He just signs washed up guys and brings them to the team. And then it's like, look, guys, I made a move. And then, of course, the gatekeepers will come in here and say, oh, he cooking. He signed this guy. No, you just signed name value after he was no longer any good.
Good point, Killicam.
Yes.
Marcus Williams, he's about to be added to that. That's $70 million safety that we picked up, who's now sitting on the bench. 70 million. And he's about to be on that dead cap as well.
But that goes to my point earlier. Even with the signing of Marcus Williams, when they signed Marcus Williams, I was like, cool. All right, they upgraded safety.
Yeah.
But the issue that I have with the Ravens the issue I always have is they never go out and sign the best at whatever position they're signing. Marcus Williams was not the best safety that they could have signed. He was the best, cheapest safety that they could have brought in. And now we're seeing the fruits of his labor. Now we got a $70 million safety sitting on the bench with John Harbaugh saying he's a starting caliber safety in the NFL. Well, if he's a starting caliber safety in the NFL, why is he on the bench? Why is he inactive if he's a starting caliber safety? These are the double talks with John Harbaugh that frustrate me the most. Like, then re-signing Nelson Aguilar. Everybody was so happy. I'm like, how can y'all be so happy about 328 yards? What can possibly make you excited about 328 yards but 394 drops? What?
Yeah. Osman asks a question. Without Lamar, how good is John Harbaugh?
You want me to answer this question?
He was on his way out the door before Lamar Jackson. But go ahead. And
I can give you definitive. This is facts. These are not opinions. This can be looked up. Without Lamar, how good is John Harbaugh? John Harbaugh is a 500 head coach. Between 2013 and 2019, he won 40 games. He lost 40 games.
yeah,
Average.
at best.
At best.
Couple more comments and then we are getting out of here for the night. Wow, it is late. MDT Sports, how are you? Thanks for being here. Be honest, guys. I think we are going to be the 6th seed going, and we're going to beat the Steelers. You think so?
We might get 5. It depends. I don't know. I don't know if the Chargers can. I don't know if the Chargers can keep winning. Like, I don't know.
I don't know the rest of
Jim
their
is a good
schedule.
coach.
I don't
Jim
know
is
the
a
rest
good
of
head coach. Yeah, they play the Chiefs,
the Chiefs have been looking vulnerable.
but they keep winning.
They do, but it only takes the one right team that's coached well enough to make that not to to turn that around.
We can say that about the Texans. I fully expect to beat the Texans because they have played like garbage this year.
They have,
But
and that's
the 3 games in 10 days that might factor in.
Ooh, yeah,
So
that's
yeah,
it.
we might stay the 6th seed.
I think we are. I think we're going to stay the 6th seed. If we get in, squeeze into the 5th seed, I don't know. But I think we'll remain this because at this point, out of the remaining teams, we have 4 games left.
Yeah.
How many do you think we're actually going to win? Think about it. Let us know in the chat. We have 4 games remaining. We play the Steelers, the Browns, Texans, and the Giants. Out of those 4, realistically, how many of those can we win? Will we win? Not can we, because that's a different question. How many will we win? That's going to
Dos
determine whether we're the 5th or 6th seed.
Dos Equis. I think we win 2. I think I know we should beat the Giants. That should be a given. I'm a little iffy. I'm a little iffy on Cleveland for 2 reasons. I'm iffy on Cleveland because depending upon how the playoff structure looks, if we're locked into the 6th seed, they're going to rest their starters. If we're locked in the 6th seed, they're resting their starters, so we may lose to them. But also, Jameis Winston just threw 400 and something, 90 something yards the other day. And let's
Yeah.
not act like our secondary hasn't had some issues. They played better, but let's not act like they can't be had. So that those two should be wins unless we rest the starters. But I'm not confident. I used to be confident. Oh, appreciate you. I used to be confident
Thank
in beating the
you.
Steelers. I'm not confident in beating the Steelers any longer. The Texans, I suspect that we should win, especially with Stephon Diggs being injured and CJ Stroud being in a sophomore slump. I think that the first game, the game after the bye, and the game at the end of the season should be the 2 games that we should win.
D
No,
Bank
the
says
Texans. Yeah, Texans.
D
Yeah.
Bank says we're winning the division. I don't know what y'all are talking about. I'm talking about the fact that we can't seem to win games lately. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, yeah, we went on a winning stretch, but then after that, and the games that are around that winning stretch have looked like this. That's what I'm talking about. That's what the
Right.
evidence says to me. I don't know what the evidence says to you. It might say something different to you from your response, but to me, it's a matter of this is an unpredictable team right now.
Facts.
So I'm
And
I'm
that's
I'm with you. I'm with you, Josh. 3-1. Josh, tell me which would right, which should be. I see you. Which game, 3-1, which one do you think we will come in second place? Which one do you think?
you already know.
I
You
want
already
Josh to
know.
weigh in.
I know. I want him to weigh in, but you already. I know. I'm sorry. I know what game it is. Listen, I with my brother, even when the Ravens were one of the last 7, I puffed my chest out and like, bro, y'all going down. But after seeing this last game, mm-mm.
Osmond, thank you for
Shout out to
becoming
Osmond.
thank you for becoming a member of the channel. Thank you for your support. Nana, question. Same question I asked. For those of you who are leaving your comments, if you think we're going to
Two
lose
in the
one
possible.
game, 2 and a possible, yeah, for those who play spades.
But she's factually correct.
Yeah. She says 1, possibly 2. What's the one game, Nana, that you can see us definitely winning out of the from your response? Which one game would you say that's the one we're going to win?
Giants.
Yeah. Kamal says we should win all 4, but it depends. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, it depends.
Yeah. Deshaun, you think we're going to win all 4
Oh,
games?
you know what? You know what? I even left something out of my soliloquy about the wide receivers. I
Oh,
forgot to throw in.
okay.
I forgot to throw in tight end Isaiah Likely, turning his back on a play because he's not getting targeted enough.
That like concerns me in terms of do you think John Harbaugh is losing the locker room or has lost the locker room in terms of like the players? Because as a player, you want a coach who you want to play for, who you enjoy playing for. Do you think that we currently have that right now? Because that matters.
I think that there's an issue. Where there's smoke, there's fire. And where in what other season have we seen so many players go off the rails? Have we seen players quit on plays? When have we ever seen this with the Baltimore Ravens? We haven't. So there is an issue. I don't know if he's lost the locker room. I think he's losing it. I think players are starting to have less faith in him. It started last year with Pat Queen. Pat Queen was just like, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of losing the exact same way and doing the exact same things over and over again. I thought that started something, and now players are like, yeah, you might be right. Like, this guy might not be the one to lead us where we're trying to go. But I don't think he's totally lost it. But if he keeps going in the direction that he's going, it's a possibility.
Okay. I think he's starting to lose the locker room. I do. And if we don't turn it around quickly, it's not going to bode well for the Ravens. Jeff J says, "Oh yes, he's definitely lost the locker room."
And the worst part about it all
Yeah.
is we have time to fester in our sorrow. We have an extra week that we have to sit around and speculate on things because we're on a bye.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
So that's why Lamar was like, I want to play now. Like, I need to go now. I don't need to let these things grow and become a cancer in the locker room. We need to get out there now and right the ship. But unfortunately, we need this bye for these next 3 games.
Torah 99 is going to have to step up too and take his claim to game changer.
Now,
okay, Torah.
no. Let me say this. Let me say this. I'm sorry. And this is not negative.
It's probably negative about Odafe Owe.
It's not.
Okay,
I thought that was a little bit of BS about John Harbaugh, why he only played 15 snaps. Talking about we thought they were going to be more run heavy. His job is to set the edge, and he does a pretty decent job at setting the edge. So if you need an edge setter and he's one of your better players, why are you not having him in the game doing his job? I thought that was some bull stuff. But, once I heard Marlowe speak, talking about, listen, either you do what you need to do and play right, or you're going to be on the bench. I don't know if that was directed towards others and him, but I do think that this excuse was BS about them being run heavy, that he didn't play. We joke him a lot, but currently he is one of your better defenders.
He sure is, Sean. Thank you, Sean. He's been having a career season. 8 sacks. Did he get any this last game?
What do you mean, oh, Sean? But yet still nothing for my comment.
Yes,
I said something positive about your boy.
I know you did.
Nothing.
I was going to say something, but I wanted to address Sean first. But thank you, Hendo. That's probably the nicest thing I've ever heard you say about Odafe Owe. So for that, thank you.
You're very welcome. But it was still a wasted first-round pick.
You see, this is why I'm slow to give Hendo credit for saying something nice about Odafe Owe.
You shouldn't have took so long. If you did it immediately, I wouldn't have said a thing.
Oh, gosh. Here we go. B. James says, if John Harbaugh is a top 5 coach, the bar is extremely low. Mercy.
Well, Tony Romo says anything during those broadcasts. That's why I don't like listening to him.
Yeah. That's it, Kev. They don't want to pay my guy. That's what this is about. They want to bench him because they don't want to see him. They want to hold him back. They don't want him to be great.
Remember what I said about Hollywood in the beginning? When Hollywood was starting to have that career year, they started throwing him shorter and shorter passes. Like, they know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah. And Torah said Van Noy will set his career high. Well, it depends if Van Noy is healthy. It just really depends on how he, if he's coming back. Is he going to miss a couple of more games? We don't know that. So I don't know. That's a question mark to me. Just Tornado says they need to lock Harbaugh in the locker room.
Listen. Back in boot camp.
Hey, funky Homo sapien.
We used to put soap in socks, and you got a little love tap if you kept messing up. Like, that's real. What's up, Flex Zone?
Yeah,
that stuff
Flex
is real.
Zone. Hey there, Flex Zone. Thank you. Well, family, we are going to say goodnight. Make sure that you tune in and have your post notifications turned on to both my channel and Hendo's all December long, because you will see us very often, i.e. every day, bringing some type of content to our respective channels. Hendo, before we go, would you please let everyone know where they can find you and what you are doing in these internet streets?
You can find me on the Rogue Pod on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, and Blue Sky. That's the one I always forget. Make sure y'all go over there. It's new. I think it's the the better version of Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it. But you can find me there, message me, ask questions, whatever you want to do. I come up with a video almost every day, especially during this 31-day challenge where we bring you content every day of December. Like it feels like today is like the 23rd, but it's only the 4th day of this challenge. But
We got it. We can do it.
but we got this. Also, you can find me every Monday at 9 p.m. on Sip to Tally with Coach Evans, Chris Just Joking, the LBHT crew with Jose and Brodney doing the Ravens Roundtable. Sometimes a mic will show up, sometimes they won't. Also, you can find me every Tuesday at 9 p.m. on Suge Knight 323 doing a Steel Conspiracy, where we talk Steelers, Ravens, Panthers, and whatever other silly stuff that they want to talk about during that time frame. But that's about it. Also, if you want to help further the channel, you can go over to patreon.com/ROUG, become a patron. Many different tiers, a lot of things that you can get. You can get into the Discord. You can get into the Pick'ems League, which right now I'm only wearing one of the rings. I got the other one around here somewhere, and I'm actually in first place going for my three-peat. I'm going for a three-peat in LBHT's League as well. And also, if you would like, you can become a channel member to my channel as well. If not, understandable. You don't have to. As long as you continue to watch and like the videos, that's all I ask of you guys. And I appreciate you for hanging out with us this late at night.
Wow. Yes, it is very late. Thank you again for joining. Make sure you all take care, stay safe. Hit the like button on your way out if you have not done so already. Subscribe if you are new, and we will see you back very soon.
She'll be back tomorrow. She'll be back tomorrow. She can't help herself but live stream. Like she loves it. You had a video for tonight, didn't you?
A video is coming out on my channel tomorrow. There you
sure?
Go.
I guarantee you'll live stream tomorrow, regardless.
It depends on what the Ravens do. Anyway, family, take care of yourselves. Be good to yourselves, and we'll